You talked earlier about how expensive it is to kind of follow the trail on a lot of these things. Are individuals from families of unsolved murders calling you and asking to hire you, or police departments funding it? How does it get funded?
Oh, hell no. No, that was just funded by my savings or whatever I was making, at the
Wow.
time. And that's what I still do now, just dipping into my savings, being like, I want to spend $500 on this ad, that kind of thing. It's only towards, it all goes to Facebook
Yeah.
and now to, to Instagram and then to Twitter and just trying to geo-target these ads. It doesn't go to, my, you know, travel or anything like that. It just goes straight to that. Yeah.
Wow. Incredible. Okay, so I want to ask you how you pick the unsolved murders that you kind of get obsessed with, that you want to follow.
hmm So what I do is, and the cases that I'm doing are not cases that they would ever make a movie out of or be on Netflix or whatever. These are usually things that happen on the street.
Mhm.
And I have Google Alerts set up, so I see every video of, hey, we're looking for this person, or a still picture or something like that from security cameras. I take that and I kind of file it away for 2 weeks. Then I'll go back and I'll do a Google search on it and to see if they've caught the person. So I do a Google search based on usually the victim's name. Most of the time they've caught the person. Sometimes they haven't. From then, if it's a video that I'm thinking, wow, it's 2 weeks, they haven't caught him, that's a pretty good video. I bet if I got that in front of the right person, they would be able to ID that person. Then I
Mhm.
go to the police. I explain the situation. This is what I do. I don't want the reward. The reward's for the tipster. I don't need anything else. I'll keep in contact with you. This is it. And then, most of the time now they say okay, and then it's off to the races. So it really is based on the evidence that's at hand, and really how well I've been working with a police department in the Philadelphia Police Department, and they do their video really well.
Mm.
You have a lot of people that just will just throw up the video. These guys are and women are posting the video. They are stopping it and then pointing to, look at his shoes. These look like Adidas, blah, 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 like that kind of stuff that you don't see in most police departments. I got to give them kudos for that. And we worked and we were able to identify and get cases on 2 people. And then I'm working on another one with them now. So that's one of the things that I wish more police departments would do, just a little bit extra effort in their AV squad.
I've always been curious because you end up seeing videos of people in certain circumstances on the streets. How many cities have random cameras on all street
Well,
corners?
everybody has cameras, it's just a matter of the fact that you've got, the traffic cameras, you've got
Uh,
individual security cameras. None of them are linked. None of the, and traffic cameras are, but none of them are linked. None of them are synced, so if one might have a clock that's wrong or something like that. It's different over in England where you've got a lot of security cameras that are all linked that are from the government.
mm,
Here, it's different. So again, that's civil liberties and all that. So you've got to, the police have to go around and go to different businesses or residents, whether they have a ring camera or something like that, and say, even if it was something that happened an hour earlier and didn't capture the murder but caught somebody walking down. That's such a big part now of investigations. And I
mhm.
remember during BLM, and there was a kid who had been found hanging. He was a black man, young black man, I think he was like 18 or 19, had been found hanging in a park in Palmdale. And the police said there were no security cameras. And I said, it's a public park. There's a ton of security cameras around there. This is bullshit. I'm going to go up there. And I went up there and I took a picture of every security camera and I talked to the people and said, do you have the footage and everything like that? And then I posted online and said, you're lying here. All these people have this. So it's a matter of just, like good journalism, it's shoe leather reporting, shoe leather detective work. You have to go, don't just call, go to each place and say, hey, do you have footage? Can we have it? Can we look through it and see
Right.
if there's a person there? Yeah.
Yeah. So I want to talk about your book, Killers Amidst Killers. Sorry. It's a great book.
Thank you.
I think it's really interesting because, again, like you said before, you're not coming from a place of talking about unsolved murders that we've all heard of. These are people that are involved in middle America. A lot of the women are sex workers, and it's fueled by a lot of women that have, their lives depend on making money to, by selling themselves and to pay for drugs and to, it's not the people that we have next door. And a lot of those times, those women or people who are murdered are forgotten. So I think the book was fantastic. How did you come across these two girls that you first started looking into their murders?
Yeah. In 2000, I think it was 17, I was working at a show called Crime Watch Daily with Chris Hansen,
Mhm.
and it was a Warner Brothers show, and I came across this story of these two best friends who lived together, who in a house in Columbus, whose bodies were found, who went missing at the same time. Bodies were found about a month apart, about 30 miles outside of town in fields. And I said, there's something going on here. That's an interesting story. There had been one story written on it. And I drove out, I flew out there with a camera crew, and we went to, they were staying at this home for lost children, which is not, it was just this guy's house. So we drove up there, and this was in South Columbus, and it was I remember everybody scattered, and I had a police detail with me, or undercover detail. And then I started talking to the people there about the women, and I talked to this one woman comes out, and they said, well, let's go get Cece. They bring this woman named Cece out, and she looked like, a regular person that you'd see at a mall. And I'm talking to her, and she was their third best friend, and she was saying, as I'm talking to her, I got this sense that, like, I'm talking to the next victim. And she said something. There's always, whenever you're interviewing for a book or a project, a lot of times you will have one thing that hits you that fuels the next project,
Mm.
or just hits you where you can't shake it. And she said something that I couldn't shake, which was, I said, does it give you any pause to get into a car? And she said, yeah, but I have to because I'm a drug addict.
Mm.
And that just hit me, and I couldn't shake that. So then I said, I have to keep on looking into this. And I wasn't doing we did the story for Crime Watch Daily. And I wanted to keep looking in, say, how many women have actually been murdered in this town that they haven't found? And, there was a guy that might have been a pimp named White Boy, and they had his phone number. And I'm talking to the police, and I'm like, well, why can't you? And then they're like, he's missing. This is how bad some police departments are. It's like, oh, he's missing. We can't find him. He's in the wind. They said that was the quote. And I said, they gave me his phone number. They said, all we got is his phone number, right? And I do a Google search for the phone number, and I find there's another girl that he's put out there. There's an ad, a sex ad for another woman.
Mm.
So I said, I go back to the police. I said, I'm not going to call this because it would screw it up, but I will eventually. But why don't you set up a sting? Why don't you set up a
Mm.
date, and then hopefully, he'll probably be in the parking lot, and then you can grab him. And they were just like, we're not going to do the investigation that way. I was like, well, you're not doing anything. And the murders are still unsolved. So it was that sort of stuff, a lot of jurisdictional nonsense too, because the bodies were found in Fairfield County. They lived in Columbus. It's like that sort of thing. And I would eventually find about 18 missing or murdered women starting in Columbus, and then moving to Middletown, Ohio, and then moving to, Chillicothe had gotten a lot of play back in the day. Some of the women that whose bodies were found are ODs, and whoever is with them just dumps their bodies. Some of the women are murders, and these murders are kind of happening under the cloak of, oh, these are just ODs, because they don't find the bodies for a long time. And
Right.
this is what was going on there. So that's what I wrote about. And even though the book takes place in Ohio, it's happening everywhere. And especially now with how bad fentanyl is.
Yeah.
Because the thing about fentanyl is really actually cheap. To get a blue, it's, $1 or $2, but it lasts so little. So you have to get 30 or 40 a day. And it's the barrier of entry, and it's so easy to make too because it's synthetic. It's not like heroin where you have to get the poppy from overseas and bring it over. So we are in such a bad place right now with the fentanyl, and people are talking about it a little bit, but nobody really cares. And these are actually the people that are dying from it now are actually people that are our neighbors and are our family members that are dying from it.